Hello everybody, today we are going to look up one of the latest Ielts speaking cue card question. Alright, describe a situations when you were stuck in a traffic jam. Okay, when and where it happened, how long you were there, and how did you manage that situation. I think we have warm up, cue card and discussion part. Okay, so what is actually happening in the warm up? You know your name and you're from, and what do you do, how do you spend your free. You can expect these sorts of questions in the warm-up, okay, and up to 4 minutes we can expect. And after that you will be given a topic to speak for 2 minutes, all right, and 1 minute will be given to prepare. Okay, we call it technically cue card question. Okay, we call it cue card question or topic presentation. You will be, after that we move to the second part of the question where you will be given 1 minute to prepare, and after that you have to speak for 2 minutes. Okay, so here is a question. Talk about a situation when you were stuck in a traffic jam. Okay, so you could talk about a lot of ideas, and this is one of the latest questions. Yeah, this is one of the latest question that's being asked. So you need to prepare this idea. Okay, so traffic concerns or traffic jams or traffic congestion is a quite common sight in most of the cities. Okay, so when you are given 1 minute, you can just note it down, points that should be incorporated in your speaking. Okay, and it is also advisable that you should always include all the topics, all the points that have been asked by the examiner in the cue card. Okay, all right, so here how actually you can talk about, when you talk about these situations, you could connect your like in your real life situations. Sometimes you may be on the way back home, sometimes you might be on a trip, you might be going to attend some meetings or something like that. You can talk about something related with your daily life. Okay, and after this cue card is over, you can expect something related discussions here. All right, so let's just discuss how actually you can talk about this situation. As you know that we have warm up, cue card and discussion parts. Okay, and cue card and discussions, these are the two areas your high score will be always observed. So it is highly advisable if you are able to speak clearly, fluently and confidently, yeah, especially in your discussion part. All right, so you may be interrupted in between. So whenever you are interrupted, you can stop it and listen to the next question. And I've seen that some candidates are speaking too much. They speak a lot of ideas. Sometimes they don't have any idea about what they're speaking. So that is the reason some candidates really struggling in the discussion part. Okay, so you can always expect like cross questions, how and why. So you should always you should know what you are speaking. Okay, so discussion part, you don't take like a interview or something like that. It's a personal communications, because after all it is used to assess your communication skill. All right, so now let's move on to this cue card question here. As I told you that you have to speak for 2 minutes and 1 minute will be given to prepare. And yeah, you can make a note, and even you can look that point and you can elaborate it. And if you skip any points there, and you will be always reminded by the examiner to look at that point and elaborate that point. Okay, so here the topic we've got actually, well, describe a time when you were stuck in a traffic jam. You can start with traffic concern is quite a common sight, or traffic block or traffic congestion is quite a common sight in almost every cities in the world. Here I'd like to talk about a particular situation. I was stuck in a traffic that was 3 years ago, or you can talk about that was last month, or you can talk about that was last year, that was last summer vacation, you can talk about that was last rainy season. Okay, depends on the climate, you can talk about your situation. Well, here particularly I remember a situation when I was stuck in a traffic jam. That was 2 years ago when there was a heavy rain in my hometown. We decided to travel to a countryside to enjoy our holiday, and it was approximately 100 kilometers away from my hometown. So my friends and I decided to go to Munnar. Suppose you can talk about your cities wherever you are. You can talk about your city, or you can talk about your countryside wherever you are. So that was actually a 200 kilometer or 100 kilometers away from my home. After 3 hours, we reached one of the famous cities in Kerala, and that was Cochin. And on the way, we got stuck. Actually, there was a heavy rain. It was really a rainy season as well. And on the way, there was a heavy rain. And due to the torrential rain, almost all areas of the city, were submerged. And the city was almost submerged or inundated in the water due to the heavy pour down, due to the torrential. Due to the heavy rain, a tree fell down across the road, and it actually blocked our way. So we were blocked by this was the reason. Unfortunately, we had to wait 3 hours. It was quite disgusting or irritating, and we were literally frustrating. So that was quite really frustrating or irritating. That was really problematic. But there was no other way other than waiting there. So we waited there almost 3 hours. We could manage our time. We were using our mobile phone and chatting with our friends and making calls, and including we watched some comedy programs. So that was comfortable. Somehow we managed the situation. Unfortunately, we were really late to reach our destinations. We couldn't enjoy that particular day, and we straight away went to our accommodations, and the very next day we traveled to the different places of that tourist destinations. We explored. So that was one of the situations where I was really struggling. That was one of the situations I was stuck in a traffic congestion. So this is the way you can add your story. It's not necessary to talk about only this trip, but if you talk about the trip or function or something like that, you could explain more about that. All right, so this is the way how it must be explained. So try to bring a lot of real stories that has really happened in your life. You could also explain the reason of that traffic block. Okay, maybe as I told you that a tree fell down across the road, you could talk about that. Or maybe there may be some accidents or something like that. You could explain that reason also. And how did you manage that situation? So you could talk about that using the mobile phone, making a call, or watching some movies or something like that. And you could also talk about the time that you spent, almost like 2 to 3 hours, and how this particular block actually affected your plan could also be explained, so that it will be quite comfortable and clear. So it will be clear then for the examiner to understand the situation. And you could also talk about the situations. In my case, as I told you, that there was a heavy rain or torrential rain, so the entire city was inundated or submerged. So that was also problematic, the situation. All right, so this is the way you can explain that situations. Keep on speaking until you are interrupted, even if it is in the cue card question. Okay, and make sure that you are incorporating, including all the points that have been asked there. All right, this is the way you can make it. All right, I hope it is clear. Well, now let's move on to the discussion part. And the discussion part of this particular questions will be always related with the traffic congestion. All right, so related questions will be always based on the topic that you have spoken. So it will be advisable to explain it and elaborate it. And the discussion part is the area where you can expect a lot of questions, which will be, you need to give elaborated answer. Okay, and also you can also expect some cross question, how and why. So it is advisable that you should remember, it's always advisable that you should know what exactly you're speaking, because it's a communication and discussions where you have to involve or indulge in the discussions with your examiner. All right, okay, the first question actually, okay, is traffic congestion is a common sight in your city? Well, so you could say that one, probably yes. To a greater extent, you can say a yes. Especially traffic congestion is a quite common sight in my city, especially during the office hours or in the morning and the evening, like office hours. Okay, and there is a what is called heavy rush of traffic. So you can explain that one. You can talk about the morning hours, like in the office hours in the morning and evening. Probably there may be a huge block or heavy rush in the road, right? So you could explain that why cities are facing today serious traffic congestion. Okay, so you could talk about the reasons how this is happening. Okay, you could talk about how this is happening. You could talk about particularly the situation actually happened due to the you could talk about that the number of ever increasing the number of vehicles on the road. All right, say that is actually the reasons why this is happening. So the problem is that roads cannot accommodate the numbers of the vehicle because of an excessive an everlasting, ever increasing number of the vehicles on the road could be the reason. And the roads are narrow and the number of vehicles are actually increasing rapidly. So that could be the reasons why there is a huge traffic concern or congestions in the cities. Okay, that's fine. Well, talk about the third questions probably. What could be the possible solutions that can be implemented in order to minimize this concern? Well, there are many methods that can be implemented in order to minimize this concern or reduce this concern or to mitigate this concern, especially introducing promoting public transportation is actually one of the best ways to minimize this concern. Okay, people should be educated, they should be encouraged to use public transportation. Okay, and also there are many other methods like introducing metro train and introducing bypass road systems or something like that. And you could also talk about that carpooling could also be another options to introduce. A lot of people can use a single vehicle for their especially to commute from their home to work. Remember, when you keep on speaking, sometimes you may be interrupted and ask it cross-questioned why and how. So you should also able to explain that one. So involve and indulge in the discussions would be the best way to improve your score. Finally, do you think that encouraging public transportation is the best way to minimize traffic concern? And you could say that one, yes. To a great extent, I agree. Implementing, encouraging public transportation would be one of the best ways to reduce traffic congestion in the cities, because everybody will be focusing on public transportation so that it will be quite comfortable and convenient for the commuters. Okay, could be one of the best ideas, or could be one of the paradigm shifts that we can think of. So this is the way you can talk about that. Okay, because a number of vehicles will be less and everybody can travel. A lot of people can travel together, right? So that reduces the numbers of the vehicles on the road. Okay, so that could be one of the best paradigm shift that we can expect. All right, and this is the way we can think of. That's all for today. So I hope you understood. We have warm-up, cue card and discussion. All right, and finally, if you talk about how to improve your speaking, you need to prepare some topics. Finally, how to improve your speaking, you need to prepare some topics and prepare some ideas and keep on speaking until you are interrupted. All right, and if you talk about better vocabs, better idioms and idiomatic expression would also be benefited to use to improve your skill. And the first and foremost thing is that fluency. There shouldn't be an inhibition or block when you speak. You need to consistent practice. All right, okay, take a lot of topic, go through a lot of topics and prepare it and practice it and listen how others are speaking. That is one of the best ways to improve your speaking, and prepare and practice would definitely help you to get better score. All right, so that's all for today. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Have a great day and bye for now.